This video is by Straight Goods News. SGNews.ca.
Very true that people don't understand what the process is and what the criteria is, and it's within their rights to know. This government talks all the time about economic prosperity, but they don't seem to include everyone in that descriptor. And certainly veterans are people who should be remembered and honored and be part of that prosperity. How can they if their benefits are being denied and they don't even understand why?
And if the system is as impenetrable as the Ombudsman says, what can be done to introduce more transparency?
Well, bring in the light. Make sure that there is better criteria in terms of Veterans Affairs evaluating the applications. The veterans know up front what on earth they're looking for, and of course we would like more clarity around the Veterans Appeal and Review Board. We've been very clear about its non-functioning reality. I'd like to also mention that when it comes to all benefits, veterans are very much at a disadvantage, and I'm thinking particularly of long-term care. Just recently in my riding, a Colonel Neil Russell, who served for 33 years, was denied long-term care at Parkwood Veterans Hospital because he is post-Korean. Now, this is an individual who served his country from the early 50s until he retired, and as a result of his service, he sustained injuries that have left him in a wheelchair. This government is saying that he was not entitled as a veteran to services at Parkwood. No long-term care for Neil, even though he cannot go home and there's no long-term care bed available for him for at least a year. Now, they're playing around with definitions, and they're saying that Neil can now stay at Parkwood under the auspices of provincial legislation. He's not considered a veteran. Here is an individual who served his country, and he's being told that he doesn't count. That's the trouble with this government. Veterans don't count.
Well, you seem to know a bit about this case. So in this case you're talking about, how much transparency is there?
There's very little. Neil was simply told that he wasn't entitled to a bed because he was post-Korean. And despite the fact that very clearly he should have been among the thousands of post-Korean veterans who should be given long-term care when they need it, because they served. They didn't question when they were asked to serve. They simply took risks. They put themselves in the line of fire. They served this country, and the government of this country suggested that there would be something for them if they needed it, and there isn't. And I would like very much to have some changes made, some important changes made in terms of mandate for long-term care and in terms of what the Ombudsman has identified as a very, very difficult process that lacks in clarity.